This is the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, July 12th show. I built a network of elite industry professionals just to share with you, my listeners, each week sharing their knowledge and expertise to everyone listening to my show. And if you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you're listening to a rebroadcast, but you can always call the show at 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. Again, that's 1-855-1150 or on the moneyhour.com. And I can connect you with any of the guests I have in studio today or provide any information that you might have missed, because we do go a little fast. We got a lot of powerful people here and a lot of amazing things to share with you. So I would hate for you to miss out on any of it. And in studio right now, Dan Wingard, current CEO of Keller Williams Realty Bellevue. Real estate especially, you see a lot of people that are not necessarily happy in their career and sometimes in their life because it's so crazy. And I think it's easy to get wrapped up into making life about your career. And especially when you're an entrepreneur and you're selling real estate and the market is crazy it is right now. And sometimes you've just got to sit back and take some time to think about what's important to you, your passions, and what's important in life. And so I'm happy to have Dan here to talk about that. And again, as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, Dan is a real inspiration to me. And we've had some time to sit down one-on-one and talk about just this subject. So I thought it would be really nice to be able to share his thoughts. And Dan, thank you so much. First time having you in studio. Really exciting.
Oh, my pleasure.
And a little bit about Dan. Again, he is CEO of Keller Williams Realty in Bellevue. Prior to taking on that role, he was a top producing realtor since 1998. And as an advocate for the Realtors Association, he will be serving as the Eastside Regional Director at Seattle King County Association of Realtors in 2015. Congratulations, Dan.
Thank you, Tina.
And he's earned many designations, including accredited buyer's representative, graduate of the Realtor Institute, certified residential specialist, and is a licensed to teach real estate classes in the state of Washington. Prior to becoming a Realtor, he was a full-time musician, teaching and playing drums around the Pacific Northwest. And we're talking before we came on air with you guys today. And at the sales meeting at Keller Williams, I mean, everybody should work over at the Bellevue office because he just gets out the music and plays a little bit sometimes at the sales meeting, and what a treat. So, Dan, let's go ahead and just start out. What do you see in the biggest challenges right now for real estate agents or brokers getting into the business?
I think it's focus, and everybody has a perception of what the business is going to be when they get into it, and they think that they're going to be doing a deal maybe in a couple of months, but there's so many things to do when a realtor gets started. And the reality is there's one thing to do for realtors, and it's the thing that most of them avoid, and that's really just connecting with people. Connecting at a high level, you're reaching out to people that you don't know, or you're reconnecting with people that you already know and sharing what you're available to do, that you're available to serve. And I think there's a mindset with a lot of realtors that think that they're going to be out there trying to sell people on something, when the reality is you're just going to add value to their lives. So communicating that at a high level is really what it's about. So that comes from doing it. And many people are uncomfortable with that conversation. They think their mindset is that they're going to be selling them something instead of, I have some value to provide and I'm going to share what's going on in the industry, connecting with people that can share that with them if they don't know it, and just making sure that they're doing those conversations consistently from the start.
Makes total sense, Dan. And I know that we have a lot of people listening to the show, business professionals in real estate, and a lot of different financial areas. We have people that are not doing a career, but their focus is at home with their family. But what's it take to be successful in any area?
Well, as far as we're talking about business here specifically, it's getting a focus on what is that productive activity. When so many things, especially for realtors, there's always going to be way too much to do in one day. And I'm in the mortgage business, that's true. And so what are those activities that you must get done to create a sustainable business? So that's the business portion, but really that's to support a great life. So getting your priority on what is it that you want. Why are you doing this? Why are you making these connections? What do you want for your family? What do you want for your life? And making sure that you have a strong connection. So when things get tough, you keep going because you know that you have a strong purpose. So I would say for any business person, making sure that they're making those connections. That's any business.
Yep.
You have to have business no matter how good you are. And then having clarity on why you're doing it.
So having your primary reason on why you're doing this, what is that core and purpose for it? And then what's your primary role that you need to do to be able to maximize that opportunity for income? Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Makes total sense.
Yeah, so many realtors will jump around to the next shiny object. You know, that instead of mastering 1, 2, maximum 3 things that they can do in this industry to provide a great level of service, to really truly be professionals like Kim Fraser from John L. Scott. Yeah,
makes total sense. And if you've never heard of Darren Hardy, I encourage to read his book, get one of his CDs, and he talks just about that. I mean, you have to find the one thing that you're responsible for in your profession and focus everything around that, and not all the things that can get distracting and take up time that you really don't need to be doing those activities.
Right.
So let's say that someone's listening right now, Dan. I mean, it's obviously an amazing time to get into the real estate market. There's a lot of opportunity, and it can be a lot of fun if you've got your focus. But where would you tell them the first step or the step that they need to be taking?
Really, it's just getting that dialogue of connecting with people. What's that going to be? And getting clarity on, typically it's going to be the people that you know, and many people will want to avoid that conversation because it's uncomfortable. They'll want not to do business with the people that they know best.
Yes.
So I would say get over that hurdle. But if that's not going to be their thing, then find something else that they will be able to be successful, at least have a chance. And again, it's really simple. It's connecting with people.
Yeah. So Dan, I would love to have you share with your listeners on why you do what you do. What got you into the business?
Thanks for asking, Tina.
You're welcome.
I really am passionate about connecting people to their purpose. And I was selling real estate and I had a team and I was able to share in a smaller team. The opportunity to work with Bellevue, Keller, Williams opened up the door for 100 agents or so to potentially have an impact and to share and to really get deep with how can I, in what I'm doing, provide a system, a format, a way where people can really get intentional about their lives and business. So it's just that underlying passion that gets me to herd squirrels every day. Yeah,
that's awesome. I love that expression. So you fairly recently, as I mentioned in your bio, you took on a leadership role after successfully selling real estate for 12 years. What made you decide to pursue that and take it to the next role as you've taken with Keller Williams?
Right. I've had a passion for actually connecting motivation or getting people connected to their purpose with music. So as a full-time musician, there had to be some connection. And so I've written a program. It's called Super Shoes, where you step into the shoes of the superhero you're designed to be. And it's bringing music to successful steps of how people can really find their inner superhero and move forward with that. So I can do that with realtors. I can do that in the office. I can share that because it's all connected. And if I don't bring that connection, I can get lost in all of the tasks and all of the responsibilities of an office manager. So I have to keep bringing that back. And like you said earlier, I actually bring the song to the office and share it occasionally. So
and Keller Williams has such a special, unique environment, as I was talking to you earlier. And so I think it's just an amazing place for somebody so amazing as you to be a leader and to take on that role and really be able to share your gifts with all of the agents. If I sold real estate, I would be in the Bellevue office right there with you. So with so many tools out there to be more efficient, with so many tools out there, Dan, to be more effective, efficient, and productive, how do you choose what to use and for what strategy?
Right. Well, Gary Keller came out with a book this last year called The One Thing. And it really we can only focus on one thing at a time. If I'm here doing this radio show and I'm thinking about the office, I'm somewhere else, people can usually tell.
Yes.
Or if you're with a client and you're distracted, you can tell. The reality is we can't multitask. We need to focus on one thing at a time. And it really goes back to your most important activity is going to be connecting with people and getting exceptional at that. I know that I sound like a broken record with that, but that really is it. It's that simple. And of course, there's the websites and there's the tools and all of these things, amazing tools to connect with people out there. Make sure that you're doing that.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with me, Dan. That's what my job as a mortgage professional as well is to connect with the consumer, connect with my listeners, connect with my referral sources, and that's one reason why I chose radio as an avenue to really to educate and to bring all of these awesome people in the industry together in one format, so we can all do what we love doing. So, Dan, explain to my listeners how one can follow their passion when they're talking about making life.
Right. I think it has to start with the passion. And there's all kinds of gurus out there that say, follow your bliss, do all of this. But I would say in following my passion, it's probably been one of the most difficult journeys. When you get focused and you know what you want to go for, you're going to see the obstacles. So it's not like an effortless, easy path. There's different ways of going about it. Now, I could have chosen the path of a musician and been pretty much poor, but I'd be doing my passion. Is that a part of what I would want to do? But the path for me was I've got to bring who I am to everything that I do. And I think that's the key for everyone is in the moment, you can always bring yourself to whatever situation you're in. Real estate, mortgage.
So bringing it all together and being able to take what you're passionate about and intermix it into real estate where you can make a living and make a life for your family.
Right. And make sure that you have a plan for where you want to go, have a big picture for your life. And then that you're actually taking those steps. And it may just be a small part. Like for me, sometimes it's just 5 to 10 minutes at night playing music, so I'll play the guitar and I just unwind, but I'm consistently doing something. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah. So what about the distractions? Because there's so many distractions today. And what are some tips to focus on what's more important to you and not allowing these distractions to come in and just take over everything?
Yeah, sometimes you have to just build a bunker. You just have to get focused. You don't open your email. You don't look at other things. You just get focused and decide this is it. In this world of you got to pay attention to your phone and all this constantly.
Yep.
It's not possible to do that and really be effective in the moment.
And you've talked about not doing more than one thing at a time. You can't multitask. There's no such thing as multitask. Our brains will only allow us to think of one thing at a time. Really what multitasking is starting something, shutting it down, starting something else before you finish this, shutting it down and going, that's what multitasking. Anyways,
True.
So, what is something my listeners can do right now, today, to be successful? Give them a tip.
I think a tip is really just be in the moment and have clarity of where you're going. So many people don't really have clarity of what their purpose is. And so it may just be take a couple of minutes to take a few breaths and say, what am I doing this for? Not to stop everything, but make sure that you're intentional. And if you're getting wrapped up in the busyness of the day, you may need to take a day off or a week off to get focused and get clarity on why you do what you're doing.
Yep, it makes total sense. So Dan, Keller Williams is still relatively new in this area. Why do you see that they're the number one North America in agent count with over 100,000 agents being so new?
I was drawn to Keller Williams because it's about the agent and their business. And Gary Keller from the start is just so passionate about that, meets with the top agents and continues to provide resources for an agent where so many other brokerages are flipped around and it's about the company.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Again, the culture, everybody has the same culture, doing the same thing and really focusing on team, focusing on passion, and building their business and a quality of life at the same time. So it's really impressive. Dan, thank you so much. You know how much I appreciate you and everything that you do for me. And it was just fun to have you here in studio.
Yeah, thank you.
Coming up next on the Money Hour, why stress about all the things that can break down in your house? It can cost you a lot of money when you can spend just a little bit of money to get those items protected and have a warranty. Gene Roberts with Old Republic Home Protection right here on 1150 AM KNW after the short break.